Anybody really know what time it is? Well, so I made a clock, and it's something that's been long overdue, just like all my projects. Somebody asked me to make something, and I'm like, okay, you'll have it in 2 years. Actually, this last project, that jewelry box that I posted about weeks ago, several weeks ago, was I just delivered it about 3 days ago, and I looked at the date from when like right after I was asked to do it until the date I delivered it, and it was almost a year to the day. It was one day off. But anyway, so that's just how it is. That's how I work right now, and maybe someday that'll change, but I probably shouldn't advertise that it takes me forever to make stuff, but I would say that the benefit of that is that a lot of thought goes into it. I think it through, tons of times before I put my hands to it, and think about what could go wrong, and I still make mistakes. So imagine what would happen if I didn't do that. But I try to make it as perfect as I possibly can, and so that there's the benefit of that. If you're in a hurry, I don't know. Go ask somebody else, I guess. No, don't. Ask me. I'll make it as fast as possible. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, all of that about time, right? The amount of time it takes me, the time. Time keeps on ticking. What? Time keeps on slipping. That's it. Time keeps on slipping into the future. And my favorite quote from the Craig Ferguson Late Late Show is, tomorrow's just your future yesterday. So there you go. Anyway, so here it is. Ta-da! It is a mid-century modern clock that you can sorry, just kidding, that you can hurt yourself on, and it's pretty cool. I remember clocks like this, the big sunburst kind of shapes and things like that, and then also the colors, that kind of teal and it was white, and there was teal, and there was sort of a sky blue color, and I think there was usually a yellow and maybe an orange or something like that. And they weren't quite pastel, but they weren't quite like jewel tones either. They were somewhere in between, and they were real popular with the crazy shapes in like the the 60s and the 70s, those crazy kind of abstract shapes and things like that. Not quite Partridge Family, but somewhere in there. Anyway, and it's really cool. I found a movement that has a sweeping second hand. I don't know if you can, let me see if I can get that on there. And you can see the second hand, instead of going like tick, 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 it just sweeps. It just moves around at a steady pace, a second at a time. Imagine that. The one that I saw, it had a domed glass thing over the face of it, and that was really something that was really hard to find, and I felt like it wouldn't work very well anyway, because this is going in a church, and so there's going to be lots of lights all around and above it in a a big sanctuary type of room. And I think if it had a glass front or a glass face on it or something like that, you would see nothing but reflections from the lights when you were. This is not for the congregation. This is actually for the pastor. It faces him. He's at the front, and the clock is going to be all the way at the back, facing him and helping him to keep his sermon within what is religiously acceptable. I'm just kidding. Actually, he did. This particular pastor doesn't do that. He says what he needs to say, and if it takes 3 hours, then that's what happens. If it takes 15 minutes, then that's what happens. It's a very cool church. Hence the modern, mid-century modern design for a clock. the wall that they have, that it's going on, has a lot of that stuff. It has a lot of those colors and those abstract shapes and stuff like that that is very mid-century modern. And the church is a regular church. It's not like the whole church is designed like that, but this one wall is, and so he wanted a clock that kind of matched that. And I made it myself on Photoshop, and then had it printed professionally, because my $50 printer probably isn't going to do a good enough job on it. And once I told them what it was for and everything, they recommended adhesive backed paper, and so it has this like matte finish on it so that it doesn't reflect. It's really nice, and then it had adhesive on the back, and so all I had to do was cut out the circle and then peel off the back and stick it on there, and that worked really well. The little balls and the ring, I was going to try and dye the wood. For years I've been pretty adamant against painting. I don't like painting wood at all. I like using the natural colors, and then I started getting into some projects where I needed a specific color that doesn't occur in nature, like a really deep blue or something like that, or a really deep red that sticks out. And so I started using dyes, not affiliated with this company. I'm just showing you what I use. It's called Trans Tint, and they have lots of different colors. It's a dye that you can use a couple different ways. I think you can do it with water, and then you can do it with denatured alcohol. So anyway, I started experimenting. I bought, I only needed 12 of those little balls, and I bought a box they came in like a box of 30 or something like that. So I started playing around with them to see if I could come up with different iterations, different colors, and I wanted to try and match the color. And then I cut out a couple of the rings that I needed to frame around the clock face. And this one, I swear, okay, so like, I don't know if you can see this. Let me see if I can. Okay, yeah, you can see it. There's that kind of aqua blue color. I mean, it's maybe not, it's sort of aqua, but anyway, it's on there, right? And that's what these look like completely before I put finish on them. And I got to a point in the project where I was ready to start putting it together, and I had to put finish on a lot of pieces first before I put like the clock face on and all of that, because when you start putting boiled linseed oil on the wood that's right next to the paper clock face, and it's going to soak into that paper and it's going to ruin it. So I had to finish a lot of stuff first before I put that clock face on, and before I did some other assembly things. And so I had these all ready to go, and they were the right color and everything, and I was ready to do it. And I put boiled linseed oil on it, and this is what was going to be the front face. And actually you can still kind of see the blue in there a little bit, but when you look at it with your naked eye, it's green. I mean, it's like nice deep forest green, and it's a really cool color, but it's not the color I needed at all. That green that you're seeing is what all of it looks like to me. And I'm still very confused about how technology, changes the colors. Like when you look at it on you take a picture of something, and then download the picture or upload the picture to your computer or something, and look at the color, and it's different and everything like that. I mean, I kind of understand how that works, that it has to interpret the color as best it can or whatever, but what I don't get is how I can hold this up here and you can still see the blue in it that it was, but literally to my naked eye, that blue is not there. It's green. It's freaking green, and that's all there is to it. But anyway, so I put the linseed oil on this, and the blue just vanished. It just like turned it green. It, put the nice finish on it and everything, but it baffled me. I didn't understand how that happened, and I thought, well, maybe when it dries, it'll come back. Once the linseed oil dries, I thought maybe the blue will come back and it'll look normal again, and it sure did not. I did play around with a lot of other colors, or a lot of other recipes for the dye. I tried the denatured alcohol, didn't really work very well for this. So I stuck with water, and I kept, like, I'd put one of the little balls in there and let it sit for an hour or something like that, and then pull it out. And it's too blue, and so I'd add a little bit of green and try it again with another ball, and I did that several times, and when I finally got it, close to the right color, I kept that, batch of dye, and I went ahead and, dyed those. And like I said, I ended up with it being about the right color. And then as soon as I put finish on it, it turned green. So who knows? I have no idea. After that happened, and I wasn't able to use that ring and those balls because they were green, I decided maybe I should just suck it up and go ahead and paint these, because a lot of the reason for dyeing a piece of wood to get the right color or whatever is because you want the figure to show through. You want the grain of the wood to show through for whatever reason. And I've done it. Here, I'll try to put up a picture of a lighthouse thing that I did for a friend of mine for his business. He does photography, and he had me make this sign for his booth. He has like a one of those canopy things that he does at art fairs and stuff like that, and he hangs this sign, or he puts it on a table in there or whatever, and it's it's a lighthouse, and it's shining out a beam of light, and in the beam of light is his business name, but at the bottom it's like the lighthouse is red and white like they used to be, and there's a big rock formation that it sits on and everything, and then the water goes across. And I chose some really highly figured curly maple to be the water, and then I dyed it blue so that it would be blue and it would look like it had waves in it from the curl, and so that it made sense in that situation and everything. And I was stuck on dyeing. I've got to dye this because I never use paint or whatever, and so once I did that, I was like, you know what, this is dumb, because there's nothing spectacular about the wood balls and the silly ring, that goes around it. It just needs to be that color, so I might as well paint it. So I went to a professional paint store. I was going to go to like one of the hardware stores, but I didn't want to. I wanted to do it right. I wanted them to get the color just right and everything. And I already had the clock faces printed out. I had extras. So I just took that in there to the paint store. See, even this, I'm looking at my monitor. It's my phone, but I'm able to see what I'm recording on my phone, and it looks like an aqua blue, and this is more teal to the naked eye. So yeah, there's that weird technology thing. But anyway, so I took this in there and I had them scan it and mix me up some paint to match that color, and it matches perfectly. That's one of those times where technology does not get it wrong. It gets the color just right. See it, and this looks kind of bluish, aqua blue or something like that, but I promise you it's teal in real life. But anyway, they got the color just right. I mean, it matches, the ring and the balls are the part that's painted, and the clock face obviously is the one that's printed from my Photoshop document. And I was amazed at how well that turned out. And so I just, went ahead and painted them. I had to put 2 coats on to get it, nice, solid. Couldn't see anything through it and all that. And, glued the ring on. I had these aluminum rods that, that the little balls, fit on. And, and I should tell you about the jig I made. Wait, I think I shot some footage of me using that. So you'll see that in this video. I used this jig. I used this jig, and the center of the where the clock face is fit on here, and then I would use this toggle clamp to clamp it down and drill a hole, and then I had marks on it so that I would move it so that it was ready for the next hole, because So like I had to use it to cut a place for each of these wood things to mount onto. Let me show you the back. Duh. Okay, so like here's the back, and I cut, you know, all of these. I cut those easily enough just by laying it out and then just cutting them. But I also had to cut a groove. I had to cut them, each one of them, in a little bit so that these wooden things would have a place to mount onto. I don't know if you can see it in there. You probably can't. It's not that important. But anyway, they had to mount on there in kind of a corner shape so that the wood piece could mount in there. And I glued it and nailed it down and everything like that. And then I had to drill holes for these aluminum rods to go into the edge of that. And, you know, for a second I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to drill these holes? Because they have to be lined up really well, so that when they, you know, splay out, that they're all in the right, you know, place. They're not like going all askew and everything like that. And I was like, oh, I made that jig. So I mounted the jig under my drill press and used the same thing to drill those holes so that they were all straight. So anyway, got that all worked out, and then I used epoxy to put the balls on the end of the aluminum rods, and I had to cut them all the same shape or the same length and everything so that they would be in the right place. And then I epoxied those in there, and I mounted the hanger on the back, and put the clock movement and all of that in place, and it turned out pretty well. So that's the clock, the project that I have finished most recently, and it's on to the next one very soon. I definitely appreciate you guys watching my videos, and I have a lot of fun making them, even if it's just me standing here talking and then sticking some pictures or silly stuff, you know, in later on. But if you know, feel up to it, get in the comments and, you know, tell me what you like. Tell me if you think it's a cool clock. Tell me what you like about my videos. Tell me what you don't like about my videos. So yeah, just, you know, let me know what you think about videos, about the clock, about anything else. My drum covers, if, you know, you haven't seen those, please go check them out. I have a lot of fun making those too. I will latch onto a song and just practice it over and over again until I've got it, you know, down, and then I'll turn the camera on and, you know, do it 3 or 4 times until I get it right, or at least right enough that I'm willing to put it out there. And the last one was that Metallica song, Sad But True. But yeah, so I'd love to hear your thoughts about those also. I did not put my my official brand. I'm sure you saw my brand video several months back where I got this, you know, new branding iron thing with my logo on it. I didn't do that. I went ahead and went with my original just initials. Let's go in there and see that. Those are my initials. That it's just a little wood burner, and it has this little thing that screws into the end that has my initials on it. There it is, and it's backwards, which it has to be. That's what I've been using for years. I think I got this like 15 years ago or something like that, and you know, it still works. But there wasn't enough real estate on the back of this clock that I could put that big brand on there, and I felt like it would look out of place and stuff anyway. Hope you like it. Thanks for watching. Appreciate my viewers, and I guess I will see you in the next one. Let me do the Peter McKinnon thing. Hold on. He always had a hat. He'd take his hat off and he'd be like, and I'll see you in the next one.